overcharge for this party of the season, but not if you're one of our special guests. All you have to do is go to our website at KBLA1580.com and sign up. That's it, that's all. Just sign up at KBLA1580.com and you could win entrance to the soiree of the season. But whether you win or not, get a ticket, support the kids, and come join us on the red carpet in your semi-formal club attire and celebrate the season with KBLA Talk 1580 and the Terry Claiborne Foundation as we collect toys for the youth in our community. That's Saturday, December 9th, 1110 South La Cienega Boulevard, just south of Olympic. It's a holiday party with a purpose.
I'm Terry Claiborne. It's gonna be a party. Come hang out with us.
Boat, boat. Boat, boat. Yeah. Yeah. Boat, boat. Pencil. Woo. Yeah. Hey, hey. You ain't know about it, but you know it now. You say you gotta hear it from the golden mouth. That's that. Go talk. That's that. Go talk. That's that. Go talk. That's that. Go talk. Hey, worldwide, but I'm so south. They say you gotta hear it from the golden mouth. That's that. Go talk. That's that. Go talk. That's that. Go talk. Yeah. Go talk. Oh, they say I need to let go of my past. Told them they could kiss my whole. At this point, I already got the bag. All y'all chasing what I already had. I've been away. I made a whole career of me having to save. Then they turned their back on me and I forgave. Now they my sons, I did not sign up to raise. At least behave. See, I got Grammys on Grammys, I got awards all in my crib. Feed me Houdinis who wanted me to disappear. They wanna replace me how you replace top tier. You ain't no pencil, you just been here for a year. Yeah, I ain't trying to stunt, homie. The growth of your career is just a month for me. I know the last couple years been a slump for you. And now you're mad that I got the one.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, this is the show where we hit all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. And for the past, 2 or 3 weeks, the topic of conversation has definitely been around sexual assault, the 90s, and that whole culture from then. Before I get into the details of this Diddy suit, I want to briefly mention, I like the It Is What It Is podcast with Cam and Mace. I enjoy it. But some people are a little upset with them because they described recently an incident where it sounds like they were visiting a house of ill repute. And, they were doing the things that happened there. Mm-hmm. And Mace said that he felt that the young lady wasn't giving him the same level of service that she was Cam. So he bopped her on the head with something or something like that. Whatever, right? This was the story that they said on the podcast. Hey, 90s guys, stop talking.
So this is what we're telling during the third hour because you know I have a response for that.
Okay, well we can go there. I'm sure
because,
you do.
Baby,
I know what you're. I already know what aspect your responses go.
Okay, good. Because if you gotta bop somebody in the head during a moment like that, first of all, let's move on because clearly it's not what you think is given. That's why she's not performing the way that you want her to be performing. Because it's not 90s Mace. It is not 01 Mace. We're talking about...
This is back in the day when this supposedly happened.
Still, it wasn't popping then.
It wasn't
It wasn't... Because if we're going to be honest, everybody was on Cameron versus Mace. It came in with the pink coat. They loved that drip. Yeah.
Mace had the dimples, though.
He was on
listen,
the other classes.
That wasn't the point of the story, though.
Okay, my bad. This is your show, not mine.
So Melissa Ford, who was part of the Joe Budden podcast.
Oh, Melissa Ford dropped the Honda Accord.
She, for whatever reason, came up with a potential alternate scenario, or I don't know. She said she wasn't landing the plane, but she... whatever reason, made the point that maybe the young ladies that they were engaged with were potentially underage. Don't know why she said that, but she said it. And
which means that you should be more energetic and effervescent and involved and engaged in said act, right?
I don't know. But the point is, that's not a nice thing to say. That's illegal.
So, no, and I'm not, any of that. But what I'm saying is, if you're there, so is she implying that they were trafficked, or what is she saying?
She's saying potentially. I'm not sure why she included this when they were discussing it.
Yeah, like why? Give context.
Right.
Because what are you saying? Because I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Again, this is why I should shut up as a man with my privilege, because I'm thinking something completely different, not the girls being trafficked. Because no, that's a whole different thing. I'm not into that. So say what it is, because it sounds like a survivor trying to tell a story.
Listen, the
allegedly,
guys on her podcast were not happy with her. They felt she should have, chilled out with that without, having any proof or expounding more. Well, Cameron responded, and, he's a petty one.
Of course, and a man in a pink coat.
He posted a photo of he and Melissa from not way, way back in the day, but back in the day. And something to the fact that they were cool and she should be careful, or else he was going to call up his homies that were in ICE. And, yeah. So that was his resolution for that.
Well, you know what I said to that? People are going to handle conflict and things the way they feel that they should need to be handled, okay? And every now and then when you feel like a person is getting about to get crazy with you or saying something that's trying to insinuate something, you going to throw a punch back, right? Okay.
So Fahima in the chat,
provide the context, girl. What is you saying right now?
That I agree with that. I think that
because you see how I almost got myself caught up in some stuff by responding. It's the same thing.
I mean, and
what is you saying?
I think that clarity is important. I think that context should be framed around it, especially if you're going to, and if you do know something. Then be clear with that. Let me ask you,
what type of brothel was this? Was this like an underground off the market, or was this a gentleman's club with a membership every year?
I have no idea.
Okay, so we need context.
I don't think that they gave that much detail. It sounded like this was pre-fame.
This is why it don't matter. I don't like stories. If you're not gonna tell the story of how it went down, like you need when you tell a story, take somebody there. They need to visualize it. They need to understand what it smelled
Give
like,
them the whole visual
temperature,
experience.
the climate. Take them in the moment, because otherwise you're going to leave people up to their own devices, and we know what happens when we would leave people up to their own devices. They come up with things, they delusion, not serious, it don't make no sense, it's all convoluted. So say what it is, Melissa Ford. What is this, a gentleman's membership, annual membership, or are we talking about, or is it something like off the skidding path under the Brooklyn Bridge in the warehouse that don't nobody know about?
I don't even think that was her point. I think her point was,
and that's the
they
thing,
could have been trafficked underage.
Just my whole point. You see how I just went on a whole left tangent because I'm left up to my own devices without the context? What was it?
When we come forward, we'll get into all of that and more. We'll get into what 50 says he's going to do with his documentary.
He better put his money where his mouth is and stop playing.
And, more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, welcome back in. Listen, we've been talking 50, we've been talking Russell Simmons, we've been talking hip-hop culture in the 90s. And one of the things that I do think is important, and, you know, again, Russ may not have been the best person to point this out, but I do think that a conversation, a real conversation, should be just had about, you know, you think about, there's oftentimes you hear people talk about the elders, the elder aunties or grandmas or whatever that would call some girls fast. And you hear a lot of the pushback like, I wasn't doing anything. Why was I called fast? It hurt me. It damaged me. And that's true, right? But on the flip side of that, when you hear these stories, right, of the things that, you know, have happened, some of the positions that women are put in, though their approach, very bad, very wrong, not great for self-esteem, but you understand to a degree the fear and why they were trying to, you know, maybe scare you or intimidate you from what they felt putting yourself in a position where you could be taken advantage of or whatever, right? Because, you know, you would like to say, oh, control men, men control themselves better. And of course, any adult, that's the expectation, right? But in reality, women were always told in subtle ways, protect yourself, look out for yourself, don't be out there being fast, you know, don't wear that short skirt. And a lot of times, you know, young girls, and maybe with some of the women it was, the assumption is she's just jealous or she's being a stick in the mud. You know, she don't want me to be out here being cute. But some of it was rooted in protection, I truly believe.
Oh, for sure.
Because, you know, no one was protecting and no one, I think, thought of it in those terms. It's just kind of a boys will be boys thing to a certain degree. So they give women that information so they can arm themselves, you know. Don't get in a car with a stranger. Don't be out with a boy, you know.
Don't leave your hunger at the club. Like, y'all both leave together. Yeah, all those things. Yeah.
All those things. And some of them, you know, definitely sound like hate or like, but to a degree, when you hear things like this, right, And again, this is not victim blaming. This is not of these specific situations, but just like we talked about knowing when to go home. Like you said, are you having a glass of wine or are you drinking the whole bottle? You know, the elders would say, don't be out there drinking.
Right.
Don't be wearing nothing too short. And you're like, I'm going to have fun. I got this. I got control. But obviously your defenses are down. Your judgment is impaired. That's why they don't want you to operate a vehicle. So you might be in a situation that were you sober and alert,
you wouldn't have had this problem. And I always think about and of course, and I want to keep reiterating this because my experience is different because I'm a man, so that's my privilege. But I will always never forget my grandmother always saying, when I first started going out and drinking and writing books and being out on the scene and calling her like, oh, grandma, guess who I met or whatever. It was always watch your drink. Always go to the bar and get your drink. If you're gonna be out drinking, make sure all those things. So I completely get it because this is what happens. Next thing you know, you get slipped a roofie. I mean, Eve tells a story sometimes about how Janet Jackson saved her from getting, potentially attacked in the club because Janet saw what happened when somebody dropped, Molly in the drink. So this stuff goes down, and you've got to be on
head
guard,
on a swivel,
at all times, because this is just the nature of it. And it's so unfair that people get preyed upon in these instances, right? And all these fine lines occur. And also, too, going back to an earlier point that you said just about, girls being warned, the thing about our elders is that they gave the warning, but again, there was no context to it. So we didn't understand what it meant. So a lot of the times we have to learn on our own because, there wasn't the story that was included because, one of the elders might have been sexually assaulted and they didn't want to relieve that. And all those things, that went with it. So, you just kind of found out on your own by trial and error because the message was not interpreted clear. So I say all that to say, when my grandmother said to me, make sure you cover because this could happen. It was like, oh, well, girl, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, well, who would want to, do that to me anyway, until I was in a situation as a grown, I was late 30s, right? And somebody, and this is, I always tell this story and I laugh at it because I'm a man, but it's like, who would want to sex traffic me? But it almost happened.
And so I think, they're difficult conversations to have. And you also don't want to set up a scenario where you have someone that is fearful of the world and fearful to move through the world, because we know in some instances being sure of yourself might be a help. It's not a prevention. It's not a
definitely not a prevention, because they're always gonna try it,
right?
And it's a matter of, oh, I've got to work an extra hard or do an extra step that I normally wouldn't do, so I'm gonna be deterred because it's too hard.
So in the chat, Fahima says one isn't allowed to bop someone in the head in a brothel. It's against the house rules. It's always something that's against the house rules. It doesn't mean that people aren't going to push the envelope, do what they do,
especially
or
when
take
they
a
have
chance.
Power and privilege with more money and think that they supposed to get something extra because of who they are.
Right. But I don't think there were anybody yet. That's the key part to the story. Kendi says, I remember seeing Freaknik videos and saying to myself, wow, you guys can do that in public. I mean, again,
willing participants.
Right. And,
and you've got to set the scene for Freaknik. It's the 90s. It's college.
You
hormones,
are
loose. You ready to be a hoochie? All those things, right?
You feeling like you're an adult.
You're doing it. And honey, when the cops is around and the cops is in on it too, it's like, what you gonna jump in and have the fun. When in Rome.
I must say though, I've never been to Freaknik. I just heard
the pictures, baby.
The videos. Yeah, I had friends.
It's like just like being going to these parties and you hear about what goes on in the back room. That was the back room. You gonna go in the back room, but you can go back there.
I'm not going in the.
Don't want to come out though.
I'm not going in the back room. You know me. I get on my square tip. Bye. Or the silent leap, but I don't know. Shout out to everyone that is just trying to tread water and keep their head above it. Kendi says, I actually remember when seeing a video of Jay-Z doing an interview while two women were performing an act on each side on the couch beside him. Was that Luke's Peep Show? Because that used to go down on there.
Yeah, that was a mess.
There was a lot happening on that show.
Again, and see things like that, it's like, what if a story, and will we ever hear a story come out about Luke and the 2 Live Crew on the set? Because it's like, we knew what was going on there, and when you went there, you knew what was happening.
Point. Yeah.
So it's a willing participant at this point. So we might not ever hear a story about that because we flocking here because we know it's here, and this is what we coming for, right?
I mean, but here's the thing, that is one of the things that is in question with some of these lawsuits and some of the situations, right? Even if I knew, was I slightly coerced? Like, yeah, I know because I was coerced, you know?
Really?
I don't know.
Honey, I'm going to tell you something. The air changes, and there's a certain scent that you can pick up when you're at these parties. When it starts changing,
it's time to go home.
It's time to go home.
It's time to go home.
Okay? You can feel it happening. You can feel the walls. I'm telling you, it's like a scent. It's like the air freshener of, what's that place that God destroyed in the Bible?
Sodom and Gomorrah.
That one. It's the scent of Sodom and Gomorrah. You smell it happening, and you got to go.
Urban Spinster said the Irish goodbye. Yep, just slide out the door. Don't say goodbye to anybody.
Just be out.
They just, the next day, where'd you go? Home.
To the bathroom.
Home.
Yep. Especially when you're up in these places, like up in the canyons and ain't got no cell phone service, go home.
No, for sure. Or when they lock up your cell phone.
When they close the front gate.
Or when you go on the shuttle.
Yeah, it's so many different.
I don't like things. I mean, of course I've been on shuttle, but I'm very much, and it might be my Taurus nature, I like my things. I want my car near me. I want my phone near me.
You can keep the phone because I gotta have my car keys and I gotta drive myself. I've got to be in control of that because I can get that phone replaced. The issue, I can leave the phone in the car because it's not even that. I don't even want nobody to know I'm here. No way.
Yeah, that's what Forensic Accountant says. Never went to Freaknik, but went to Luke's Super Bowl party in '96. We'll share with the class.
Send us a message about that.
Let us know what happened.
Yeah,
what went down.
Just like I can guarantee, just like we think everything that went down. It was probably a fun time. Bathing suits, half clad everywhere.
I remember Luke's Freak Fest or something like that in Cancun, and they were on a yacht. And it was probably the first time I had ever seen Gloria. This was a video that circulated. It might still be on the internet. And she and another young lady were doing things that should not be done on the yacht in front of 30 men in the middle of the day.
Willing participant.
But
where's Gloria now?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, she said that. First, she said she was cool with her baby daddy. They had, come to terms. There was no beef. But then when all of this stuff started coming out, she implied that she had been groomed. So.
Okay, so wait a minute. She implied that so where does the baby daddy come in the story? Like, how does that come into play?
So she met Aaron when she was working for Luke as a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
The assumption, right, if you meet someone that's working as a stripper and it's a 21 and over club, would be that they were at least 21.
Yeah.
So he said, Aaron Hall used to have a stuttering problem. He said she was with another guy. I believe he said it was Mad Lion. And that he walked up to her, was like, "You coming with me?" And he grabbed her hand. And he grabbed her hand, and they went to the hotel, and they spent some time together. And then 3 days later, she got the tattoo that said Aaron's. And then some time after that, they were going on a trip to Jamaica. And when they got to the airport, they wouldn't let her fly out with him
I
because
heard that
she
she
was a
cried
minor.
foul on this story.
Oh, she said that didn't happen?
She said she said that did not happen.
Okay.
Apparently.
But she did say that that's how they met, and
it's kind of wild though because, this is here's my man privilege coming across again. I just don't see another grown man walking up to me talking about, I like you, you coming with me. If I wasn't a willing participant, you can't walk up to me and say that.
I mean, you can't. Like, here's the thing: you could, but
you're not gonna get far,
right? Unless you're fine, and I maybe know, like,
unless you are a willing participant,
right?
Because I'm gonna tell all my business tonight, because people have walked up to me and was like, and I'm just looking like, nah, it's not gonna happen. But certain people have walked up to me and it's like, oh, yeah, I can probably do this, and you like, maybe you could. Let's talk about it. And as you start engaging, and see, I'm a person that reads the room. Everybody doesn't read the room, and because I'm also from LA, like, you can't just flash me with a Benz and a cash, and because no, I got money, I done had a fancy car. Like, you can't trick me with all these the trappings. You know what I'm saying? Right. I've had a steak before. You can't just throw me a steak and be like, okay, I was eating filet mignon at 8. So
you mean they can't take you to crustacean or catch and then take you to?
You can, and we can go to Chili's, okay? But you can't. What I'm saying is, you can't just sell me something and just expect for me to go along with it. So after a certain point, it's like, you know what, this person might be a little crazy, or you know what, I might get traffic. I might don't go get in the car. Meet them there. Something. I'm not just going all in, even though the lights is flashing and blinging and doing all this stuff. Child, please.
Facts. So Fahima mentioned that her nephew had his drink spiked and the girls robbed him for his phone and his wallet. So it's not just women who are preyed on. That is absolutely true. I mean, there was a group of girls that used to do it in New York and Miami. They would target ballers, or they would target guys, Y'all got to flash that watch. Got on a PJ. Got on a Rolex.
You can't go around acting like that, because when stuff like, and even with that, it makes it hard for victims to even be believed, because you've got a group of girls going around scamming, being city girls.
I mean, it's like you've seen it on video. There was a football player, I can't remember specifically who it was, that was a victim of that. Like, in Miami, hanging out with some girls, took him back. They drugged him. He woke up the next day, jewelry gone, stuff gone, and all they had was blurry video of these two chicks leaving his place.
See, one glass of wine, not the whole bottle, and
before you get there,
and pick up your drink. Yes,
and keep a napkin over it. None of that. Same with the water. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines we'll get into, because we still haven't read the complaint yet that was filed for Diddy and 50's pitch for his documentary.
Oh yes, we keep
all of that
50s.
And more on RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports on the other side.
Hey, what they do? These unoriginal, hypocritical. It'll hit you in and spit at you, get it to you the old-fashioned way. Cynical missions for them that's acting thick, a little pick it off. You gon' listen to what I have to say. Yeah, I ain't trying to stunt, homie. The growth of your career is just a mind.
Boom, boom. KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you a Christmas season that is merry and bright. Happy holidays.
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A Black Chicago teen has earned her doctorate at Arizona State University. 17-year-old Dorothy Tillman already has her high school diploma, her bachelor's, a double master's, and now her doctorate. She says her goal is to create a space for the sake of future generations. Tillman created the Dorothy Genius STEAM Leadership Institute. The group focuses on science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Eric Adams is getting the lowest approval rating for New York City mayor since Quinnipiac started polling voters in 1996. According to the poll, only 28% of voters approve of the job Adams is doing, down from 37% in February. New Yorkers' top concerns are affordable housing and crime, followed by immigration, homelessness, and inflation. As the FBI investigates the mayor's 2021 campaign, 22% of voters think he did something illegal, while another 30% believe he did something unethical. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, get up to 40% off vanities. Visit Lowe's in-store or online for more deals. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 11/30 through 12/6 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
In association with KBLA Talk 1580, the Terry Claiborne Foundation presents its 26th annual holiday party, Saturday, December 9th, featuring live entertainment, celebrity appearances, plus food and drinks. There is a cover charge for this party of the season, but not if you're one of our special guests. All you have to do is go to our website at KBLA1580.com and sign up. That's it, that's all. Just sign up at KBLA1580.com and you could win entrance to the soiree of the season. But whether you win or not, get a ticket, support the kids, and come join us on the red carpet in your semi-formal club attire and celebrate the season with KBLA Talk 1580 and the Terry Claiborne Foundation as we collect toys for the youth in our community. That's Saturday, December 9th, 1110 South La Cienega Boulevard, just south of Olympic. It's a holiday party with a purpose.
I'm Terry Claiborne. It's going to be a party. Come hang out with us.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Every child deserves the best teachers, facilities, and academic programs to set them up for success. At Milton Hershey School in Hershey, Pennsylvania, we make that a reality for children from qualifying families who are looking for greater opportunities. Milton Hershey School enrolls students from pre-K through 12th grade from across the United States to live and learn on a beautiful state-of-the-art campus with all costs covered. Are you looking to set your child up for success or know a child who could benefit from Milton Hershey School? Learn more at mhskids.org/admissions.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or whether anyone cares about them.
But the reality is, 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and tools they need to succeed in life. To learn more, go to covenanthouse.org today. Thank you for caring.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, another soul on soul. Yeah, production. Yeah, 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 yeah. I stay soaked in foreign colognes. I keep dipped. Coogee sweaters hand knit, cause that's that fly shit. I stay laced because my body got Versace taste. Rolex on my cuff, flooded with diamonds and stuff. A half a dozen hundred Benz coupe in my driveway. Tried to have it my way, the flyway led to a bad day. I should have kept it real when I was with you. Instead I dissed you, so now I miss you. True.
It's been too long since you've been gone. Feels good when I'm with you. I miss you. Come back home. I need your smile. Ain't seen you in a while. I'm so alone. I miss you. Come back home. It's been 2 sleepless nights, 3 lonely days since I last saw you. Now things just ain't the same. Whatever happened to the promise that we made? You'll never leave me. I'll never leave you. Now you're gone. It's been too long since you've been gone. Feels good when I'm with you. I miss you. I miss you, baby. I need your smile.
Sure do. Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to Monifa and Heavy D. That was a song.
Yeah, shout out to Monifa. She's a nice lady.
Does that mean that we're going to have to give up all of our 90s catalogs? It's feeling that way. It's feeling like people about to be really...
Not really. We still have some stuff to fall back on.
Like what? Stuff I probably don't listen to.
Yeah.
It's probably educational rap.
I mean, hip hop wise. I mean, I was never really into like 90s hip hop, but
that's
yeah.
Me. Andy?
That song makes me shed a tear.
Why?
Because it's just like the epitome of the 90s R&B sound.
Yeah,
which is something that I miss heavily. So it just brought me back to, my youth, listening to the radio, obviously, you know what I'm saying, getting ready to record, all that jazz, recording music videos, all that jazz.
Hitting play and record on the thing. Listen, that was a jam. The bass line was in there flowing. It had that thing. Heavy D always had a really smooth rap style, overweight lover.
The original Biggie.
Facts. Heavy would be except Heavy was dancing. That's one thing. Heavy would be grooving. Him and the boys, listen. Boom, boom, boom. They were getting it. Oh.
What's your favorite Heavy D song?
Mine?
Yeah.
Okay, the Overweight Lover was a jam. I feel like that was the first one. You always, your first hit, you always are like, yeah. But really, Somebody for Me.
That's a good one. I like that one too. Is It Good to You?
Kyle West, but Is It Good to You was a jam.
That is my ultimate Heavy D song.
And then what's the what other one I really liked, but it's kind of sad when you think about it, but Now That We Found Love.
Yeah.
Because it was
Aaron Hall too.
Aaron is singing on that hook. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But no, that was the track. Hey. I was gonna say this because this is bumping. Big Daddy.
This is like quintessential like 90s sound. You know what this takes me like? As soon as I heard this beat,
95, 97.
I don't even know why I thought of Living Single. Like it just popped into my head when I heard that little intro right there.
Listen, that was this reminds me, when you play stuff like that with beats like that, I'm going to tell you what it reminds me of. And this includes D'Angelo and this, Lil Queen Pen, Blackstreet. This reminds me of black patent leather, was really popular then, with the white stitching on the jacket. glasses, like black rimmed glasses that had like red lenses, right? All of that was really popular in those looks, those sheer like button down shirts that with the ruching kind of on them. Definitely a swoop.
Yeah.
A swoop. And the flips were kind of coming back in, so you could have the swoop and a little flip at your ponytail or something, or your ends. You know, man.
The times.
The times.
The hockey jersey, too.
The hockey jersey was a big, big thing.
The Red Wings.
That's what you were rocking? There was a green and yellow one. I can't was that the Penguins? I can't remember. Or I don't know. I can't remember who it was. Have to go look it up. You know, obviously, I don't think I was fully personally rocking the hockey jerseys, but I liked when the guys did. Ow. Forensic accountant says the fact that Anthony Hamilton was nearly buried in the 90s speaks to how competitive the business was back then. I mean, this is true. Anthony Hamilton's music, though, I thought he came out in 2000s, though. Okay, because
maybe he started surfacing before then.
Yeah, maybe he was, you know, I mean, the end of the 90s
Well,
was
he said nearly buried, so.
Yeah. I mean, that was the neo-soul movement, so that was the era of the D'Angelos, the Jeanets, the Hidden Beach album, you know, which was the jazz version of hip-hop songs, which seems so, you know, revolutionary at the time, like, oh my God, this is jazz music, but they're really playing all the hip-hop songs. So cool. Mm-hmm. Red Wings, Double Entendre by Trent. Did I miss something? Okay, well, you and Forensic Accountant obviously are vibing.
Well, we've been friends for a long time.
Have you?
Yeah,
in real life?
No, I've never met.
All right, I'm just saying, I never know. You never
in my head.
Listen, Forensic Accountant seems to be the homie.
Like we chop axes, you know, chop the wood with the axe, and then
let's not say that.
Some discs, you know, you shoot them up and
that
out in the country.
Inappropriate.
No, we're just out in the country, just
doing
country stuff.
Serial killers do.
No,
that's what it sounds like.
You just live off the. It's the real off the grid life.
So listen, Fitty says that he's ready to roll. I don't know if he's trolling or if he's serious because it could be either one.
It's
Here's
both.
The thing. He does. You think he's trolling, Andy?
Let me
tell you why I think
serious.
I mean, I know he's trolling. Like, I know that he is definitely trolling. But let me tell you why I think he could be serious as well. Obviously, we know he has the production company. But part two is one of the things that he was doing all along with that was examining and doing reenactments of whether fictionalized, I think the show might have never made it out of development stage, or docuseries style, but of hip-hop crimes. So in theory, something like this fits in under that umbrella. Oh, by the way, Diddy was dating, you know, his youngest son's mother.
Is this the son that he's always got issues with? They be going back and forth?
No, not Marquise. The one that Sire, the one that Daphne, he's biracial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't know that one. I thought he only had that one kid.
No, he has a younger one, and that's why people complain about, because he brings the adorable little boy. Very cute. Looks just like 50. 50's genes are strong, but he's clearly, you know, Blasian. And that child's mother had started dating Diddy right around the time when he and Carisha were dating, first getting started. And so, you know, 50's petty. So you know that some of that is what this is, in addition to had his issues with Diddy all the time.
I was going to say, were they ever really friends? Or they've always been kind of nemesis.
Because Diddy, you know, Diddy's going to Diddy on him.
I was about to say, did Diddy try to Diddy him in the beginning?
Well, I don't think that he was trying to do that.
And Curtis was like, oh, okay, I got you, bro.
My personal opinion is that Diddy was trying to sign him, like, yeah, I'm paid. Oh, you think you coming? Oh, you think you doing this? Son, you'll never be me. Let me take you shopping. You know, that type of thing. But maybe I have things wrong. When we come forward, we'll get into more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Did you know that every year, public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Go to DonorsChoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, music, and more. Learn more at DonorsChoose.org.
Donors Choose. Support a classroom.
Build a future.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Today, young adults face big questions about their future. How will you make your mark? Do you want to be part of something bigger than yourself? Are you ready to learn new skills and make new friendships? Perhaps you have a dream that you're ready to make real. So, how will you make a mark with your future? As you embark on a journey toward finding these answers, the military can serve as a resource for providing help, information, and opportunities. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit todaysmilitary.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, Trent, you were saying.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
Andy, what was I talking about? Could somebody tell me? No. Oh, I don't even remember the last thing I was talking about.
50 Cent and Diddy.
Oh, we were just talking about how he's a
yeah.
Was he really a troll?
I mean, he's really a troll, but I really do think that if he can,
yeah, I think that he's also going to
want to
for sure,
because he also threw in a little shot at Rick Ross, and remember there was drama with Rick Ross and 50's baby mama went to go mess with Rick Ross and all of this. Blah blah.
She's
blah,
very
blah.
active, isn't she?
And he put in the little snippet that he showed for, I guess, some of the cuts that he was, would like to utilize. He showed, I guess, a bit of Mark Curry's interview with the YouTube channel, The Art of Dialogue. And Mark Curry obviously was an artist with Diddy. He wrote Dancing with the Devil some time ago and has been talking about the ways of Diddy for quite a bit. However, that book and what he was speaking of was more about the business aspect and not into these type of allegations, although he is now sharing stories. Most recently, the one that everyone has kind of been buzzing about, he said that Diddy did drug champagne, the women's drinks, and would tell them, hey, don't drink out of those bottles, only drink from these bottles. And they would use that to get it popping, and it was like a scene setter. And a lot of people are also asking, well, you saw it once, can understand, to your point that you made earlier, you might be shocked, not knowing what to do, uncomfortable. but you go back and you do it again because you said it was a regular thing. So then what does that make you? An enabler? Don't know.
At least complicit.
Complicit. But 50 included, there's a song by Rick Ross that was called You Don't Even Know, UOENO. And I believe it was done with Rocco, Monica's baby father. And it was a big thing because one of the lines in the song was Molly all in her champagne. She don't even know. Something, something. It eventually got taken off the song, but he thought nothing of, that's a hot lyric, I'm going to put it out there.
Well, yeah, people telling themselves all the time in what they say and what they do. I mean, all you got to do is listen.
So I don't know. My gut tells me, and 50, as we know, he's no longer with Stars. So although all the Power franchises remain, right? He has a first look deal with Fox. So there's a couple of different places he could go with it. In theory.
Yeah.
Lifetime did how many surviving R. Kelly docs? It started off as one that was really well done, a two-parter, and then it just
spiraled
into a whole lot.
Because, here's the thing. When people have compelling stories that you actually research and you find out that they were there, it's verified information, and it's something new and sensational, people are going to jump on it and go along with it. Especially if people are looking for some type of reprieve and to tell a story.
But with this, what do you think? Because there was a Rolling Stone piece where they kind of took some shots at Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, Mark Curry, another bodyguard that Cassie mentioned, whose name escapes me at the moment. And they're just kind of like, much like with R. Kelly, can you do this type of stuff without help? And then I guess some people wonder, right, we've talked about this compassion fatigue, I guess, is a thing or whatever, right? So if you are around someone, right, and I don't know how to term it, whether you say they choose to or they can't, but are in an abusive situation and you can't convince them to leave, right? For whatever reason. They're scared, they don't want to, or whatever. As a friend, as an individual, then you have to make a choice, right?
Yes.
You can try and stay around and be supportive of your friend, or maybe deal with them with a long-handled spoon, right? Because ultimately, when you have a friend with drama like that, it inevitably will spill over into your life, right? And so sometimes you might have to make the choice to end a friendship, which may seem harsh, to avoid you getting caught up in something potentially crazy, because right now they're not in a space to receive the idea that this may not be healthy for them.
Right.
So what do you think? What do you do in those situations if you see your friend in a self-destructive situation?
Just like you said, I have been in a situation like that recently, about a year ago, and it really came to the point where I had to have an honest conversation with my friend and said, when I was called out of my house in the midnight hour to go pick up her child from the police station because she was in the hospital, it probably was not the opportune time to stop being her friend,
Mm-hmm.
but that was the breaking point for me. Because we had had conversations, back and forth. Knocked down. But now I'm responsible for your child.
Right.
And I'm a compassionate person. Okay. Keyword compassion.
Right.
And kids should not be. But I'm only going to go so far in how much I'm going to help you, especially when you don't see. I'm not going to be a crutch for you. You have to see yourself out of the situation. And as a friend, here's what I'm able to do. Here's what I'm willing to do. And here's what I'm not going to do. And if you...
Do you make those sort of distinctions clear? Or is it something that just comes up as the situation develops and evolves?
Well, just like anything else, it's a gradual, sting. So you say, look, hey, all right, hey, let me look, all right, girl, right, and then it's like, okay, look, hey, you got a child, you got this, you start lining it up, laying it out, and then again, when a police officer calls me on the phone and says, come pick up a child from the police station.
That's pretty intense.
It's not only intense, but it puts me in an awkward position. So, what if I have your child and then something happens to you, you pass away? Now I have this baby that's not even mine, that's got a whole other father who's abusive. It puts me in a very awkward position as a friend. Because now I've got to take care of a baby that's not really mine, that I've got to protect because I know that the father is a psychopath.
And that is
and my life will be forever altered. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And it had nothing to do with me. So you have to draw the line. And it's difficult, but I also know that my friends are made up of some of the same fibers as myself. They're strong-minded people. You sometimes you get, but what my friends are also survivors and they can see themselves out, but they have to do it on their own merits, and you don't need any help doing that. You've got to pull away so people can know what they are made of.
Do you tell them, hey, this last time and I'm out? Or do you just
sometimes
do
you
the slow fade?
do and sometimes you don't? But I always have conversations, and I don't like to really leave people in the dark. I like to give them some idea of what's happening. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool to ghost people.
Right.
But after so many conversations, like, how much more talking are we going to do?
Right. It's a difficult thing. Like, and I think that, I often say this, it is sometimes why it is hard for people to step in, because they don't know fully the boundaries of the situation or how they can help without getting too deep.
And not only that, when people say stuff, they oftentimes aren't transparent, and they leave certain things out that are key to the situation. I'm a very transparent person. I'm going to tell you I'm going to lay it out and be like, look, this is what I did. This is how I need you to help me. I know it's crazy, and I lay it out because people need to know what they're getting involved in.
Facts.
Lay it out, gap it open, and let people know what they're dealing with, and be real.
Do.
Tell it all. If you're going to tell it all. Go there. Take it there.
All the way
Shake
there.
the table. Flip it over.
Well, listen, really quickly, Diddy is accused of gang raping. According to this lawsuit, she's named Harv Pierre, and then third assailant. She said she met Harv in Detroit when she was 17. They flew her on a private jet to New York. She was all up and through Daddy's house, Puffy's studio, back in the day. There's a photo of her on his lap. Some are questioning, where were her parents? What was going on with that?
Where were your parents, and what are you doing at 17 on a jet? Flying across state lines.
And so here's the thing, and this is the question, and we'll have to answer it at another time.
Do you know where your child is at 10 o'clock?
Do you know where your child is? But
Baby.
Is your child at 17 years old, when you know that you could lie to your parents, is it fair to put the responsibility back on them? Because in theory, the difference between right and wrong. You're just
especially
excited.
a teenager of the times from Detroit, baby.
So, listen, thank you for locking in to RSVP with Jill Munroe. Hit up Trent the Artist at Trent the Artist everywhere.
Yes.
And
Thanks
we'll
for
see
having
you
me.
tomorrow. Absolutely. When we come forward, you'll hear the best of KBLA Talk 1580. Have an amazing night.
Kiss me tight when you hug me. Took me to school the very first day. Gave me a piece of butterscotch, sent me on my way. I know it's frightening. I can tell by the pain in your eyes when the rent was late again. Too strong to fold.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.